Good morning, Bookeemonsters. It is Tuesday, November 7th. My name is PK. Welcome back to my channel. We are here to look at new releases being put out into the wild this week. We look at it by genre by genre. Yesterday we started to look at some cozy mysteries. We'll keep looking at those as time allows because there's always a lot. Today we'll be looking at mysteries. So, any announcements ahead of time? We will have sprints tonight at 6:05 Mountain Time, 8:05 Eastern. It'll be going for 2.5 hours. Bring your own book, work on a project, just meditate after a day. Entirely up to you. That's the time carved out for you to do what will make you happy. So, let us jump into the mysteries being released today. And we are starting off with Michael Connelly, a new Lincoln lawyer. I'm behind in that series. Good morning, Mary. Happy Tuesday, voting day here, absolutely. I also have to take my car in for routine maintenance and the waiting room blues. Bring a book. Hi, Annalise. Happy Tuesday, all. Get rid of that banner. All right. So we're starting to look at regular mysteries today. First up is the Michael Connelly Resurrection Walk in the Lincoln Lawyer. Lincoln lawyer Mickey Holler enlists the help of his half-brother Harry Bosch to prove the innocence of a woman convicted of killing her husband. Defense attorney Mickey Holler is back, taking the long-shot cases where the chances of winning are 1 in a million. After getting a wrongfully convicted man out of prison, he is inundated with pleas from incarcerated people claiming innocence. He enlists his half-brother, retired LAPD detective Harry Bosch, to weed through the letters, knowing most claims will be false. Bosch pulls a needle from the haystack. A woman in prison for killing her husband, a sheriff's deputy, who still maintains her innocence. Bosch reviews the case and sees elements that don't add up, and a sheriff's department intent on bringing quick justice in the killing of one of its own. Now Holler has an uphill battle in court, a David fighting Goliaths, to vindicate his client. The path for both lawyer and investigator is fraught with danger from those who don't want the case reopened and will stop at nothing to keep the Holler-Bosch dream team from finding the truth. I used to read a lot of Harry Bosch. But the thing that bothers me, it's okay. Sleep is more important, Annalise. I like the characters. The only irritating thing for me with Michael Connelly, particularly in his Harry Bosch books, is he always uses Harry's name over and over and over again. When people are talking to him, they always have to reference his first name. And after a while, it just got to be irritating. And I think between the two, I do prefer the Lincoln Lawyer series. But I'm behind. The Future by Naomi Alderman. Let's see. Where a handful of friends plot a daring heist to save the world from the tech giants whose greed threatens life as we know it. When Martha Einkorn fled her father's isolated compound in Oregon, she never expected to find herself working for a powerful social media mogul hell-bent on controlling everything. That sounds familiar. Now she's surrounded by mega-rich companies designing private weather, predictive analytics, and covert weaponry while spouting technology prophecy. Martha may have left the cult, but if the apocalyptic warnings in her father's Fox and Rabbit sermon, once a parable to her, are starting to come true, how much future is actually left? Across the town in a mall in Singapore, Lai Zhen, an internet-famous survivalist, flees from an assassin. She's cornered, desperate, and, worst of all, might die without ever knowing what's going on. Suddenly, a remarkable piece of software appears on her phone telling her exactly how to escape. Who made it? What is it really for? And if those behind it can save her from danger, what do they want from her, and what else do they know about the future? Martha and Jen's world are about to collide. An explosive chain of events is set in motion, while a few billionaires assured of their own safety lead the world to destruction. Martha's relentless drive and Jen's insatiable curiosity could lead to something beautiful or the cataclysmic end of civilization. And he says, like the dripping faucet, once you notice it, you can't ignore it. Harry, Harry, Harry. That's it oh, it just drives me nuts. I had to take a long break. We already looked at the Reese Bowen, the proof of the pudding, yesterday. Clive Cussler's still around and writing The Corsican Shadow, a new Dirk Pitt novel. That's amazing. It must be somewhere in the upper 20s or hitting 30 books in this series now. In May 1940, as the German army blitzes Europe and Parisians flee their city, the chief curator of the Musée de l'Armée is ordered to get a mysterious piece of cargo out of the country. When he arrives at the port of Le Havre and learns that his intended ship has been sunk, he places the object on a decrepit steamer that sails out under German fire. In the present day, National Underwater and Marine Agency Director Dirk Pitt is on a diving expedition in the English Channel when he discovers a cache of uncut diamonds on a shipwreck. When the diamonds are stolen, Pitt and the NUMA agency find themselves up against a murderous cabal that soon reveals far more destructive plans than mere theft. Vital water treatment facilities around the globe are being targeted, placing the world's population in grave peril. From the shadow of the Eiffel Tower to the depths of the Irish Sea to the islands of the Caribbean, only Dirk Pitt and his children, Summer and Dirk Jr., can locate the treasure that will preserve the soul of a nation and save the world from catastrophe. That always tickles my adventure fantasy. Hi, Storm. Morning. Where the big names have brought out their books. Well, it is exactly right before Christmas. This is when people will buy the hardbacks for gifts or for themselves. That's the way I always Christmas shopped. I used to always get books for people in my family, and it would be one for them, one for me. One doesn't everybody do that? Mary says, "Hi, Storm. Hope you're doing well today." That's the way I always shopped. But that Dirk Pitt, I should read that series. Oh, this is intimidating. The Mantis by Kataro Isaka. The Mantis is a propulsive thriller set in Tokyo's criminal underworld about the intrigue and tensions of a family man faces as he tries to hide his secret life as a hitman, as one does. Kabuto is a highly skilled assassin, eager to escape his dangerous profession and the hold his handler, the sinister Doctor, capital D, has over him. Speaking of Doctor Who is this month, isn't it? With the only Doctor I acknowledge, David Tennant. I have to figure out how to watch that. The Doctor, this one, a real physician who hands over Kabuto's targets as prescriptions in his regular appointments with him, doesn't want to lose Kabuto as a profitable asset, but he agrees to let him pay his way out of his employment with a few last jobs. But the most lucrative jobs involve taking out other professional assassins, and Kabuto's final assignment puts him and his family, who have no idea about his double life, in danger. This is the third book in a trilogy in Kataro Osaka's imagined Tokyo criminal underworld. But there is more to that. Mary, I have to go into Barnes & Noble for Christmas shopping. One of my favorite. Oh, yes. Because they have more than just books. You can actually do all your shopping there. The Manor House by Gilly Macmillan. Be careful what you wish for, it tags. Childhood sweethearts Nicole and Tom are a normal, loving couple until a massive lottery win changes their lives overnight. Ugh, I would love to undergo this trauma. Soon they're moved into a custom-built, state-of-the-art glass barn on the stunning grounds of Lancot Manor in Gloucestershire. They have fancy cars, expensive hobbies, and an exclusive lifestyle they never could have imagined. But this dream world quickly turns into a nightmare when Tom is found dead in the swimming pool. Was Tom's death a tragic accident, or was it something worse? Nicole is devastated. Tom was her rock, and their beautiful barn, with all its smart features that never seem to work for her, is beginning to feel very lonely. But she's not entirely by herself out there in the country. There's a nice young couple who live in the manor itself, along with their middle-aged housekeeper who has the coach house. And an old friend of Tom's from school has turned up to help her get through her grief. But big money can bring big problems and big threats, and is Nicole's life in danger as well? Nicole's beginning to feel like a little fish in a big glass bowl, surrounded by piranhas. Okie dokie. And Storm says, "Hi, Mary. I'm trying to wake up." Yeah, but it's after 8 there. It's only after 6 here. I know. I'm one of those disgusting morning people. After 3 o'clock, though, in the afternoon, I'm 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 fading fast. Anne Perry's Christmas Vanishing. This is probably her last one since she passed away. Mariah Ellison, Charlotte Pitt's grandmother, accepts her longtime friend Sadie's gracious invitation to spend Christmas with her and her husband, Barton, in their picturesque village. But upon arrival, Mariah discovers that Sadie has vanished without a trace, and Barton rudely rescinds the invitation. Once Mariah finds another acquaintance to stay with during the holiday season, she begins investigating Sadie's disappearance. Mariah's uncanny knack for solving mysteries serves her well during her search, which is driven by gossip as icy as the December weather. Did Sadie run off with another man? Was she kidnapped? Has someone harmed her? Frustratingly, Mariah's questions reveal more about the villagers themselves than about her friend's whereabouts. Yet, in the process of getting to know Sadie's neighbors, Mariah finds a kind of redemption as she rediscovers her kinder side and her ability to love. So, kind of a Scrooge thing. It's up to Mariah to master her own feelings, drown out the noise, and get to the bottom of what occurred all before Christmas Day. With the holiday rapidly approaching, will she succeed in bringing Sadie home in time for them to celebrate it together, or is that too much to hope for? Nicole Upson, historical mystery. She writes Josephine Tay. I don't know which book in the series this is. This is called Shot with Crimson. I like Anne Perry usually. Yep, yep. Of hers, I have not read the two later series, the Daniel Pitt or the Elise, is that her name? Photographer chick. Actually, my favorite was Monk, and in the early series of that, such a different character. Loved that series. Shot with Crimson. Violence finds its way to Old Hollywood in the 11th. Okay, thank you. Josephine Tay mystery, perfect for fans of blah, blah, blah. September 1939. And the worries of war follow Josephine Tay to Hollywood, where a different sort of battle is raging on the set of Hitchcock's Rebecca. Then a shocking act of violence reawakens the shadows of the past with consequences on both sides of the Atlantic, and Josephine and DCI Archie Penrose find themselves on a trail leading back to the house that inspired a young Daphne du Maurier, a trail that echoes Rebecca's timeless themes of obsession, jealousy, and murder. I have meant to read this series. I know I have the first one. I think I have more than the first book in the series. It's just making the time for it. Lee Goldberg, Calico. Another big name in mystery. There's a saying in Barstow, California, a decaying city in the scorching Mojave Desert. The interstate here only goes in one direction, away. But it's the only place where ex-LAPD detective Beth McDade, after a staggering fall from grace, could get another badge and a shot at redemption. Over a century ago, and just a few miles further into the bleak landscape, a desperate stranger ended up in Calico, a struggling mining town, also hoping for a second chance. His fate all those years ago and hers today are linked when Beth investigates an old skeleton dug up in a shallow, sandy grave, and also tries to identify a vagrant run over by a distracted motorhome driver during a lightning storm. Every disturbing clue she finds, every shocking discovery she makes, force Beth to confront her own troubled past, and a past that's not her own, until it all smashes together in a revelation that could change the world. And that is it for that website. That is booktipper.com. This one that we're going to is bookriot.com. They cover some of the same books. They have a weird, I don't know. It's amazing that some sites only have certain kinds of books and not all that are being released. And the write-ups are getting sparse, yeah. It's never about the time. Yeah. So this is Blood Betrayal, second in the Blackwater Falls series by Asma Zahanat Khan. In Blackwater Falls, Colorado, veteran police officer Harry Cooper is hot on the heels of some local vandals when the situation turns deadly. Believing one of them has a gun, Harry opens fire and Duante Reed, a young black man, is killed. The gun in his hands was a bottle of spray paint. Meanwhile, in nearby Denver, a drug raid goes south and a Latino teen, Mateo Ruiz, is also killed. Detective Inea Rahman is all too familiar with the name of the young cop who has seemingly killed Mateo, Kelly Broda. Kelly is the son of the police officer John Broda, who led a violent attack on her when they were both in Denver. No one is more surprised than Inea when John turns up on her doorstep pleading for her help in proving the innocence of his son. With the Denver police force spread thin between the two cases, protests on both sides of the cases begin. Inea and her boss, Lieutenant Wakas Safe, have their work cut out for them to consider the guilt of the perpetrators and their victims. Harry was, by all accounts, an officer dedicated to the communities he served. Was this shooting truly a terrible mistake? Duante was, to some, a street artist with no prior record, but to others he was a vandal. Mateo was either in the wrong place at the wrong time or a dangerous drug dealer. In either case, was lethal force truly necessary? That is Blood Betrayal by Ozma Zahanat Khan. Very much ripped from today's pages if you want to read something like that. I mostly want to read to escape, so it's not necessarily something that 150. Awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mary. This one we're going to save for tomorrow, sci-fi fantasy, because I know it's a sci-fi book. That is not what I wanted to click on. Let's click this. Enchanted Hill by Emily Bain Murphy. Oh, it's a historical. Escape to Enchanted Hill in this historical mystery where two people with a dark shared past collide while working undercover at a glittering mansion on the California coast. The year is 1930, and Cora McCavanagh is posing as a maid at Hollywood magnate Truman Bird's legendary estate. She's closing in on the damning evidence she needs for a high-profile client. An aspiring PI, Cora was trained by her father, a former prison guard at the notorious Pelican Island, where Cora grew up surrounded by hardened criminals, which is why she recognizes Jack Yates as soon as he walks through the door. The last time she saw him was on an ill-fated night that changed the course of her life and still haunts her more than a decade later. Cora never expected to see Jack again, and now a single misstep could cause both their secret identities to come crashing down. They strike a tentative truce to help each other during a week of parties overflowing with champagne and caviar. But there are puzzles hidden in every corner of Truman Bird's labyrinthine estate, and if Cora is to finally learn the truth about Jack Yates, she must unravel a sinister history that the rich and powerful will do anything to keep concealed. Filled with intrigue and old Hollywood glamour, Enchanted Hill is an unforgettable blah blah blah. That sounds kind of interesting, though. Gorgeous Gruesome Faces. This is a young adult mystery thriller by Linda Cheng. Yellow Jackets meets She is a haunting in this debut speculative thriller. Demon. We'll save that possibly for tomorrow. Sweet Thing by David Swinson. I'm kind of familiar with that name. Homicide detective Alex Blum must answer a terrible question. How far would you go to love the wrong woman? In a red brick house on a tree-lined street, DC homicide detective Alex Blum, we'll just say Blum, stares at the bullet-pocked body of Chris Doyle. As he roots around for evidence, he finds an old Polaroid. The decedent, arm in arm with Arthur Holland, Blum's informant from years ago when he worked at the narcotics branch. But Arthur has been missing for days. Blum's only source, Arthur's girl, Celeste, beautiful, seductive, and tragic, whom he can't get out of his head. Blum is drawn to her and feels compelled to save her from Arthur's underworld. As the investigation ticks on and dead bodies domino, Blum unearths clues with damning implications for Celeste. There should not be a comment after that one. Sorry, grammar police. Swallowed by desire, Blum's single misstep sends him tunneling down a rabbit hole of transgression. He may soon find the only way out is down below. Set in 1999, Swinson, a former DC cop, this goes into his background. But it looks like it's set in 1999, so kind of a historical, sad to say. Sweet Thing. The Beautiful in the Wild by Peggy Townsend. The dangers of Alaska aren't limited to storms, starvation, and grizzly bears. Sometimes the most dangerous thing is the person you love. It's summer in Alaska, and the light surrounding the shipping container turned storage shed where Liv Russo is being held prisoner is fuzzy and gray. Around her is thick forest and jagged mountains. In front of her, across a clearing, is a low-slung cabin with a single window that spills a wash of yellow light onto bare ground. Illuminated in that light is the father of her child, a man she once loved, a man who is now her jailer. Liv vows to do anything to escape. Carrying her own secrets and a fierce need to protect her young son, Liv must navigate a new world where extreme weather, starvation, and dangerous wildlife are not the only threats she faces. With winter's arrival imminent, she knows she must reckon with her past and the choices that brought her to the unforgiving Alaskan landscape if she's ever going to make it out alive. That sounds gruesome. The Engagement Party by Finley Turner. A lavish engagement party turns deadly, and the bride-to-be is the primary suspect in this heart-stopping thriller exploring the dark underbelly of the uber-wealthy and just how far people will go for revenge. Cass Baptiste is newly engaged to her fiancé Murray Sedgemont. Well, she better be. Okay, never mind. After a whirlwind romance, before they even get to share the news, an invitation arrives via messenger to an engagement party hosted by Murray's parents. When Cass and Murray arrive at the Sedgemont estate, she's astonished to learn that Murray's family is one of the most powerful families in North Carolina. As Cass's future mother-in-law, Beatrice, whips herself into a frenzy over the perfect party for the state's elite, Cass begins to receive anonymous threatening social media messages. On the night of the event, as champagne is popped and the celebrations begin, a body is found in the lavish home. All eyes are on Cass, the interloper amongst the rich and powerful guests. Over the course of the party, Cass's dark past unexpectedly becomes intertwined with the murder, and in order to prove her innocence, she must finally come to terms with her secrets. As Murray's family secrets are revealed, Cass must prove herself innocent while evading the anonymous threats that threaten her every move. We looked at the manor house and the mantis, and where he can't find you. We almost made it. Let's do this one super quick. Young adult mystery. Are the disappearances the work of a human killer or something far darker? Okay, that's all we need to know. All right. Those are the mysteries being released this week, as far as we know. All righty. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you have a good Tuesday. Tomorrow we'll be looking at actually romance. Wednesday is romance. So we will bring up, if you're kind of tired of the crime, let's look at love. Again, we'll have sprints tonight at 6:05 Mountain Time, 8:05 Eastern Time for 2.5 hours. We'll listen to some nice sounds, read a book, work on a project. Oh, you're welcome, Annalise. I do this for me, and I appreciate that others want to see it too. I just want to know what's out there. I'm like a shark. I got to see what's out there. Constantly feeding on books. Remember, there's so many books out there. Don't read something you're not enjoying. You don't get good person points. You're wasting your time. It's just not the right time to read that book at that time. It's okay to set it down. I give you permission. And as the banner says here, hang on a second. Mary says, miss seeing you all. Oh yeah, that's right. And vote if your state is doing it. Absolutely. Your vote matters. It really does. Have a great day, everyone. You bet. You're welcome, Mary. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm. Be a bookie monster. Nom, nom, nom. Have a good day, everybody. God bless.